side and GG.eu. We've just seen them in action there, getting the victory against Dark Passage. There, of course, MBS, Alania, Mazarin, Deadly Brother, and Inspiro.
Of course, on that red side for paiN Gaming, which first game of the day got to come out big here. We have Venom in the top lane. In the jungle, we're actually going to have CT.
Which would mean
in the mid lane, we're going to have Kami. As AD carry, we're going to have BRTT and support Espeon.
Yeah, some big names in there from the Brazilian team. As you mentioned, Kami in particular, he is a beast when it comes to solo queue. Got a big following online, but it's BRTT that's the real popular one. He's been around for years and years and years in the esports scene. Obviously, former Counter-Strike professional player, and he's got that experience on the big stage. You know, the Gamescom stage here is probably not the biggest stage that he's ever played on, certainly on in terms of his overall career. So he's got that kind of level-headed approach that he can bring into his team here and really show the less experienced guys, you know, how to keep a cool head and how to keep things going. There you see BRTT on your screen.
Yeah, let me ask you something, because we've obviously seen paiN Gaming play in the Brazilian game show where they've ended up winning. They played in front of their country many times with a huge crowd, but they were always competing for that top place. They were never competing for their country, their region. Do you think that applies more pressure to them now coming into this?
Well, look at the Brazilian fans that we've seen time and time again being absolutely nuts. I mean, this is a region where the fans, you only need about 100 of them in a hall to make it sound like there's 1,000 in there. They are so very passionate, and I think that's something that's going to drive paiN towards a possible victory. They know that their countrymen are right behind them there. They've got massive support. They've definitely got a hard way towards a victory. We're not talking about them as favorites by a massive margin here. We're talking about favorites in terms of, you know, they are on paper up until now maybe the stronger team. A lot of stuff that we've heard from the European teams in particular that have been practicing against, and paiN have been in Cologne, by the way, for around about a week and a half by now. So, you know, they've been training actually at the LCS Europe studios. They've had good opportunities to train with some of the LCS teams. And they said themselves, when it started, we kind of kicked off with 5 or 6 or 7 or maybe 10 losses. But after that, they started to really get into it and really, you know, find their groove on that. And they've been looking very strong. And talking to a lot of the LCS pros, they found it hard to go up against paiN Gaming here. So they're certainly in good stead going forward for this match.
Yeah, I remember talking to a couple of teams, I believe it was the Copenhagen Wolves in particular, and even their manager that's here. He says that in the beginning, when they got here, they were really strong early on. Like the first 10 to 15 minutes, they were fine, but then for some reason, they just seemed to fall apart right after that. And I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure they've been able to fix that coming into this game. And I do have to correct myself, as I was saying earlier, GG.eu wasn't the team that kind of doesn't have to do it 25 minutes. That was the other team they were playing back in Moscow. But, you know, both teams are very aggressive early on, so we're going to see a lot of action. And not to mention, paiN to me reminds me of Lemondogs a little bit, where Dexter camps Nuke Duck, gets him really fed, gets him going. Surti does the same with Kami mid lane, so we might see that happen yet again. Might be able to give him that opportunity to really start to carry the game. And I think even during the qualifiers, we did see an AP Sion middle, which actually split pushed very well with that Lich Bane.
AP Sion, it wouldn't be the biggest of surprises, actually, if we see that coming out here by for Kami. But those are the kind of picks that surely Gaming Gear have seen and have read about, because they're the things that kind of make the waves. You know, AP Sion was picked by Kami, and that's something that they can research and would be ready to do something about if that came on the board.
Yeah, and we just heard Hacker V2 talking about, you know, their prep for this. You know, not really able to research a lot of teams. Yeah, you have a couple of VODs here and there, but paiN Gaming is one of those teams that's been around for such a long time that you have a long list of information about, and you can come into this game completely prepared for it. And I'm not sure if paiN's been able to do that back to these other teams. And I mean, they pretty much have that mark on their back that every team is gunning for them to try to knock them out, try to win the games over them, and adds even more pressure to them.
Yeah, and one interesting fact here, I mean, coming in Venom, the top lane, he came in obviously to replace Titu, who was formerly their top laner, and he's never actually played in a competitive team before he joined paiN. Now, that almost sounds kind of crazy to have, but if you think to some of the other players that we've seen shine really well over in Europe, the likes of Pushu is a fantastic example of that he's come into Fnatic pretty much from the solo queue and done extremely well, and being able to really adjust to the pressure that's obviously thrown on him. And we'll see if Venom can do that here on the international stage. Obviously already done it over in Brazil.
And the thing is, we always talk about, you know, the players, what they've committed to this, to be a professional gamer. And actually, Venom, he dropped out of his last year of college because he wants to play League of Legends professionally. You know, he wants to be there, competing with the best of the best, and make this his living, like a lot of, you know, well, pretty much every LCS team in North America and Europe have been able to do. And honestly, that's a big commitment, and that kind of shows his dedication towards this.
Yeah, and we talk about that all the time, you know, leaving school early. A lot of players in the past have done that, and it is a big commitment to make. There's no doubt about that, but it's all about living your dream as well. Definitely living your dream, and that's something that right now here at Gamescom, all of these players are doing. The fact is they're fighting for that spot at the World Championships over in September, October. So it's really important that they rise to the occasion, that they can handle their pressure. And I think that's, for paiN in particular, something that is going to fall to a couple of different members too. Maybe BRTT in particular, who, as I said, has got a wealth of experience over different games as well, not just through League of Legends, on big international esports stages.
And the thing is, we talked about immunity earlier, playing, you know, with like 200 ping on different servers, and paiN, they've done that as well. I mean, before the Brazilian servers came around, they were playing in North America quite a bit, just like Hacker V2 was, and they were able to compete with the best of the best. So now, you know, with low ping, they've been able to get even better and really show the world that they're up and coming and that people should pay attention to them. And I want to put out one little thing there that actually, to me, is really huge, is that Espeon, he was diagnosed with retinal detachment when he was 16, and he's actually completely blind in his right eye, and yet he's still here, still able to compete with the best of the world, and you really have to respect that as a caster or just anyone watching the game.
Yeah, that's really impressive to pull off something like that and to be at this level with an illness like that. So really, you have to take your hats off to him for that kind of thing. And
see, he plays better with one eye than most people play ever.
Exactly, and that's the problem that we face, certainly, that we've got everything perfect in that respect, but still not quite on this kind of level. So we should be starting off here pretty shortly. Just waiting for a couple of issues on stage to be fixed out here. So once that's all done, we should be able to get things back underway. Gaming Gear, they were already sat in their position, so they're like all in game already, asking where are our opponents for this one. But hopefully paiN will have any problems that they've got sorted out here shortly, and will be able to get themselves in game.
Okay, here you go, Joe. So we've seen 3 teams now play so far. Or sorry, 3 teams right now. paiN can be coming in for the 4th. Have you been super impressed with any of them? You know, with the results? Because, you know, honestly, these games have been very close so far today.
Well, you have to say immunity, right? I mean, the first game that we actually saw from them coming out was out of this world. I mean, in terms of how they went in and played against Lion, they went with that very heavy CC comp with the Annie that spent a lot of time roaming, always had that stun ready, and they really got things going, and it's hard to stop a composition like that, in my opinion. Like, you know that if they can open things up onto you with a Jarvan or whatever, if 3 people are inside a Cataclysm, that is such easy pickings for the likes of Lissandra, Syndra, and Annie that they had on that team. So they had so many options available to them that even if they miss 1 or even 2 changes, parts of that CC chain, that they've still got another 2 to rely on when they go forward. So overall, for me, immunity coming out big. I guess I could almost consider them Brits, technically, the Australians. You know, we shipped them off as criminals off to the island back in the day. Long time ago, that obviously, but, you know, there's a bit of camaraderie, and since we don't have any really decent English teams, I suppose we could consider me an immunity fan. And they certainly won a lot of fans today, I think, with the way that they played.
I mean, Papa Smithy and Time, who've been casting them for a long time now, I bet are very happy to see them doing so well. And I mean, obviously we have a lot more games to come, so they're going to beat a lot more teams than just that one. But, you know, this break they've had a lot of time to really prepare, a lot of time to even talk things over a little bit more if they weren't prepped already. Not to mention they're able to scout out Gaming Gear in these 2 games and really kind of pick what they need. And yeah, I mean, we saw immunity earlier on with that strong composition with so much CC. And you heard Hacker V2 say, just, you know, in those bans, they had very strong bans. We weren't prepared to counter it, and teams have to be prepared for that. I mean, if they get a composition like that yet again, and you're not prepared to stop it, then they're going to walk all over you.
So we see that the admin's just helping out right now with paiN. So hopefully whatever problems that they're having at this stage will be resolved here shortly, and we'll be able to get this one underway. I'm sure a lot of you over in Brazil have either woken up very early for today's games or just stayed awake all night. I think it's 5 hours time difference, something like that, over to Brazil. So it's kind of right in the middle of do I get up ridiculously early or just stay awake for all of it. But I'm sure a lot of you are here watching that one anyway, and I've been doing one of those two, so good stuff. Or either staying up or waking up very early, which I think waking up is actually the harder of the two to do overall, to set your alarm clocks for 4 AM or whatever ridiculous time we started off in your time zone. Whatever it is for paiN that seems to be working against them right now technically, I'm sure they've got it all handled and will be ready to go with this one shortly.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of mouse problems that should be fixed relatively soon. Still waiting for them to completely join the lobby. But paiN, I mean, I honestly, I would really kind of hate to be in their shoes just with what's on the line for them, because they have the Brazilian pride. As you mentioned earlier, you know, during Intel Extreme Masters Sao Paulo, we had about 150 spectators, and it sounded like there was thousands of them. And during the Brazilian game show, which we actually casted, I believe, once or twice, you can hear how insanely loud the crowd is, how passionate they are, and they're pretty much embodied in paiN right now.
Yeah, and the great thing was that one was when Keed took down Incredible Miracle, LGIM, and that was such an amazing moment. I'm sure you've already seen many, many videos from that one. They actually went out of the tournament, Keed, 2-1. Their only win from that one was against Incredible Miracle. So they actually picked up their only victory of the entire tournament against the Korean team, which then went on, by the way, to win the entire tournament as a whole. So really, really impressive stuff that we've seen out of the Brazilian team. And as I said, the fans over there, looking forward to visit again, I have to say, because it was a fantastic week that we had over there, and with some fantastic people, and certainly one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard. And I suppose if you look at the amount of people that were actually there for that crowd, they're probably louder per person than any crowd that I've ever heard, ever.
Yeah, even in Katowice, like, we had an extremely huge crowd, and it was just about the same level of loudness. It was kind of really, really crazy in the end. And I mean, the thing is, during Sao Paulo, they actually played against Meteor Makers, who obviously is going to be in the relegation matches now, coming up next year. And obviously, they lost to him, but the thing is, the experience they've been able to gain, because that was their biggest problem, being able to play teams outside of their own country and be able to get the experience from that. And they've been able to do that now over this time, and this is their big moment to shine.
So, we see paiN all now sat down, which, fingers crossed, means that everything is done and ready to go there for this one. It's Sir T that was actually up, and the admin's doing some stuff there, so hopefully his peripherals are all working. Always good to have a working mouse coming into a game of this level.
Yeah, and it's going to be so hard, like, if it's not your mouse, if it's not your keyboard, it's not, like, kind of your monitor, like, you feel different. It's really hard for you to play in your full comfort level, where some people, you know, some people can handle it easily. And the person I'm thinking in particular is Todd, who's StarCraft 2. He's a player there. He actually has been plagued by it throughout his entire career, and hopefully these teams aren't really affected by that at all here.
And now we see on your screens, GG.eu set up from their last victory here on stage, so they had really no preparation time when it came to that, and were able to get things directly underway. And they've just been waiting for this one. We'll see how... Mine. Get off it. It's because someone just told them in-game that with their exhibitor pass, they get free skins, and I think they might have got baited in by that one. Although I'm not sure if that's actually true here or not. I'll have to speak to someone about that one.
Isn't that like push D to dance thing that people always do in-game?
Like, oh, I flashed. Totally got me with that one.
I think I've actually been fooled by that once or twice. And you feel so stupid.
And it was probably only last week.
Like 5 days ago.
I don't have my thunder spells on those keys anyway, so no one could ever fool me with that one.
They're like, you tricked us? Used to being good sports about it.
Yeah, and they really are all checking now to see what they got. And actually, that's a note about picks and bans, I think, which is going to be folded away. Don't want the cameras to get their eyes on that one and allow any secret tactics to be coming our way. But as we said, paiN, they've had a lot of time of preparation anyway coming into this tournament, spending that time here in the ESL studios for, I think, 1.5 to 2 weeks they've been here overall, which has also given them a big bonus in terms of
they're still looking
jet lag and all that kind of stuff. You know, we know how hard it is to fly in 2 days before a tournament and trying to adjust your sleep schedule, which is just a massive, massive problem for some people. And they've completely circumnavigated that by coming in here a 1.5 to 2 weeks early, getting themselves some great practice with the European teams, the LCS teams, whilst they do that as well.
And there's no better prep than against these LCS teams here in Europe if you can't play against anyone else in the world. And we've been told, and hopefully we're going to see that paiN actually kind of copies Korea a little bit in their play style. And I'm thinking back to Katowice when we saw Gambit Gaming, which was Moscow 5 then, play that Curse the Sad Bullet Time combo and just completely failed it. I mean, there's no other way around it. They just did absolutely nothing in that first day. And
GG wants to talk to you about the Curse of the Sad Bullet Time combo because they did it brilliantly.
They did fantastic with that. Even with Froggen on that Blitzcrank and Crep on Anivia, who apparently said he missed a lot of CS. But, you know, pulling something off like that, it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and hopefully paiN's been working on that because World Finals, I mean, that's at stake for them. That is a huge thing for these teams. And to get there, to represent your country, to play against the best teams in the world, anyone would love to do that.
So all 5 players from paiN are right now in the game, so we should be able to get bans and picks started here in just a couple of seconds, and then we can get things rolling into the match itself. Over on Stream A, we do have the other game going on right now, which of course is Dark Passage versus Immunity, so that's an important game for both sides, really. Immunity able to go 2-0 with that one. Dark Passage looking to bounce back after their defeat earlier on, or in our last game, up against GG.eu.
The thing is, like, to me, they were one of the favorites just because we saw them back at DreamHack Summer where they played against the Copenhagen Wolves, took that to a 3-game series where they were almost able to pull off that victory. And GG.eu, they were at DreamHack. They didn't even get past the initial part of it where they went 0-3. So, you know, Dark Pass, actually GG.eu able to pick up that win against them. That's got to give them a huge confident boost coming into this game.
So we are going to be getting into Champion Select here then, and the first bans coming out for Gaming Gear, Elise and paiN. No surprise there, BRTT used to play a lot of Draven. Obviously Draven had his changes coming in, fell out really of favor with a lot of the top players, but paiN is very strong right now, and BRTT is a monster with her as well. That's going to be banned out. On the other side, Thresh taken away and the Zac taken away.
So paiN ban, completely understand it. I mean, we just seen Candy Panda, who had like a 16.4 KDA before this last week of games on her. I mean, she's one of those champions where you can get a free lane. That's the whole point. Like, she usually has troubles in a 2v2 lane, but with the way the game's played now, you can have that solo lane. You can be able to get that free farm and really become hard to deal with. Not to mention, he did play actually a couple of games in their qualifiers. His backup champion would be Twitch. With the Elise, even with the changes in 3.10, we've seen a lot of her in North America. We've seen a lot of her in Europe, and people still enjoy playing her.
They've left Shen open. They've taken that Evelyn away from Alania, but with a Shen in there, you can pretty much guaranteed if he's not banned, he's probably going to be picked from this one, and NBS are going to be taking that one straight away. What are paiN going to go for you on the first round? Like you said, Twitch is definitely one similar to vayN that you can get when it comes to that late game, absolutely hammering away on people. Looks like they may want to take an Ezreal, which, funnily enough, is something that Cammy actually plays as well.
I really hope that Nocturne gets... Oh, yes, I love seeing Nocturne. It's so much fun, that ultimate. But yeah, so the Ezreal, we could see it obviously in the mid lane. We could see it as the AD carry. It's pretty much one of those picks now that's become really hard to tell where it's going to go. And I'm actually really surprised to see a Jarvan locked in here because we've seen Alanir back in week 2 in LCS. He actually jungled Shen before, and MBS hadn't played it then, so I was really curious to see if he will be doing it or not, and it's like unfortunately not.
Well, Orianna being locked in there as well. We'll see what they can do with that one. On the other side, this Ezreal again, not really sure 100% where that one is actually going to end up. They've already picked the Orianna, so if that was to be a mid lane Ez, then they'd want to secure that AD carry now while it's still on the table with this one. But with a Malphite coming in as well, that could probably say that this Ezreal is possibly going in towards that bottom lane, because the Twitch is certainly now gone. Mordekaiser, the typical trolling against every Brazilian team is obviously to put the Mordekaiser there, but not lock it in. It'd be great if you actually pressed the button wrong and locked in the Mordekaiser. That would be funny stuff.
In Sao Paulo, the teams that weren't from Brazil were doing it, and they got booed. But then the teams who were from Brazil picked it up. Everyone cheered. It was like the funniest thing ever. And unfortunately, they're not going to play it this time. But you see Espeon actually picking it up himself. And the Malphite pick, I'm actually really curious about that, because maybe it was picked to stop that ball delivery system for the Orianna for Gaming Gear, but they already had a top laner, so it's not like you would need to pick that up. But it does give you like a fantastic engage. Like, the biggest counter to Malphite, is flashing his ultimate. If you can do that, you're good. And with the Nocturne and Darkness, it's almost impossible for that to really happen. And then you pair that in with what was just picked up, Twisted Fate. You have 2 globals mixed in with a teleport. That is extreme control of the game, or of the map for paiN.
Well, we're going to obviously be seeing Venom and BRTT swapping around here. That Ezreal going to be paired in with the Zyra. On the other side, Twitch and Sona is, of course, the bottom lane locked in. Shen versus Malphite top lane. Possibly one of the most boring lanes if they end up 1v1 to watch. But, you know, it's a lane of just waiting until 6, basically, when you're going to see that Shen coming in, at which point you'll either see Malphite use his Unstoppable Force to stop that happening, or teleport in and then use his Unstoppable Force in the fight as well. So a real kind of face bash lane up there, and just a war, obviously, of who can get the farming, but it all really gets exciting level 6. Then you've got Twisted Fate, who's coming in. Nocturne, obviously not a global ultimate, but pretty close to being halfway across the map anyway. You can get really involved with that paranoia. So really exciting game coming up. paiN's first appearance here in the International Wildcard Tournament. Really excited to see how they do.
I was actually thinking, the last Nocturne I saw was Meteos over North America LCS in their last week, because he played a Ravenous Hydra on him. He actually built a couple of other DPS items, and what he did was just dove straight for the AD carry, because they knew if he did that, he could pretty much one-shot him himself. He was able to do that quite a bit. And, you know, the top lane, I mean, I won't work around it. It's a very boring lane to watch, just 2 tanks hitting each other. But it's so critical and crucial for how the game develops later on. If you can stop one of those tanks from getting really tanky, that means your AD carry can kind of do a lot more damage to him as the game goes on. So you can force the fights a little bit earlier. And it might be boring, but it's really important on how these games develop.
So here we go then. We are going to be jumping into game here in just a second, and it will be paiN Gaming's first appearance here at Gamescom for the International Wildcard Tournament, taking on GG.eu, who have already recorded that victory against the Turkish side of Dark Passage. Now, the question is, how is this one all going to work out? Who's going to get off to the better start? That Twisted Fate, no doubt, going to be instrumental in this one, but this level 1 could also turn out to be super important, as we saw a ward go down there that's actually going to spot the entire paiN team.
Yeah, that was actually a great ward, and paiN didn't even see that one coming down, because paiN, they have such a strong level 1 team with the Fear coming out of Nocturne if you do take it, with the slow out of Malphite, not to mention the gold card coming in with those grasping roots can lock you down forever. Gaming Gear, they just want to get a safe invade here over towards this top side, but I believe they're actually going to be spotted by a ward as well. So pretty much just identical wards going across the map for both teams.
Yeah, very deep there. Actually 2 wards put down on the one side, and not the Explorer ward either coming out from Espion. So actually a decent investment onto that bottom side of the GG map. And in the end, both teams just backing off. So despite those early wards going down, just to make sure that nothing will really be happening in terms of invades or whatever, or at least being able to react to it, we get things underway. Looks like we're going to be seeing the duo lane, actually, of paiN going in towards this top lane.
I think they might have been expecting a lane swap to come down, because they haven't been able to see where Gaming Gear's bottom lane is just yet, even with those wards. So it'll be a Shed who'll be 1v2 most likely in this top lane, which honestly he does a fantastic job at. I mean, you can last hit minions pretty well at turret. You can also heal with your Vorpal Blade. And you're really hard to dive early on, as we've seen so many times before, that if you 3-man dive him and he lands a nice taunt across your team, then you can pretty much get first blooded right off the bat.
So here we go then. Blue buffs for either jungler being picked up here first of all. Surti down to half health, obviously not using his smite to pick that one up. Same thing for Alanir on his Jarvan over on the blue side of the map. So they're just going to head off. I don't think we're really going to be seeing too much in terms of trying to secure the opposition's buff right from the very start of things. They're just going to both head over on towards their reds, which leaves us then with these 2-on-1 lanes. Obviously in the top lane, Shen versus Ezreal Zyra, and in the bottom lane, Twitch Sona versus Malphite.
Oh man, I just saw something pop up above Espion's head that I haven't seen in forever. It's Pickpocket. So you auto-attack a person on the other team, and you get 3 gold off of it. You steal it away from them, actually. So since it's a melee champion in that top lane, it's very easy for you to stack that. Not to mention you hit Grasping Roots and just auto-attack them once. I mean, that gold really does make a huge impact as the game goes on. But we do see right now, currently Alanir is heading down towards this bottom lane. It looks like they want to go for that patented dive onto Venom. And he's only level 1 right now, but he'll be able to hit level 2 really soon.
Level 1. Can they get in there before that level 2 actually hits there? holding the minions off here, and this is definitely a very, very dangerous time for paiN. Nocturne is actually headed down, but will they be quick enough here? They're going to go for it as Jarvan is going to get involved. Is the knockup going to come down? Venom actually waiting for this one. Knockup actually not coming in there, and they're all taking turret. It's Venom, though. He's going very, very low, but he's still alive, and look at this. Deadly Brother is falling super low as well, and there is the first blood coming around to Surti. Alanir is going to have to actually get away from that one. Surti burning here from the Ignite, but he's got the pots running. He will survive, and what a turnaround coming in there for paiN.
And he completely just read what Gaming Gear was going to do. He completely read Alanir, was able to turn that around. The thing was, if Alanir maybe got in there a couple seconds earlier on, they might have been able to pick that up. But we do see the teleport coming in for Venom, since he doesn't want to miss out on too much here. And getting Nocturne an early start like that right now is so perfect for paiN.
So very perfect. Leaves that Malphite. Okay, not with a lot of CS, but he picked up the assist from that one as well. And I was kind of surprised to see Venom not flash so super early from it. The knockup actually failed onto him as well, which was an important part of why he managed to stay alive. But he did so well to be very patient and, you know, not just scared reaction flashing away from that one, which could have actually ended up costing him his life anyway in it. So, great start here to the game for paiN. Let's have a look at this mid lane. Actually, it's Orianna that's having the lead at this very early stage. Both mid laners going in for Doran's rings.
And look what was invested in that last game, because it's going to become important on where Surti actually goes, as 3 flashes were used out of that, not to mention the barrier and the ignite, and they were still able to survive that. And that means that Surti might just gank this bottom lane over and over again. But then again, the threat of that would make Alanir think that he might be going down there, so he has to counter gank him, which gives Surti the opportunity to gank these other lanes. It's really like one giant mind game. And Surti, with that first blood, he's actually bought up a couple of wards here because he wants to gain vision control.
Yeah, and he has that complete control. There's Inspiro trying to kind of get it back on this bottom side as well, bringing in that pink ward. Trying to get in over towards Mazarine there, but honestly, not going to be able to do too much, especially that Orianna, of course, still got the flash available. Even burning that would be a bonus for him. Venom actually backed away from lane here, a lane which has been frozen anywhere in no man's land as far as he's concerned, so he decides to do the Wolves to try and keep up with it.
Think about Gambit. Just last week, what they did to SK. They let the lane push out like that. They froze him completely, and Kevin was just shut down in the bottom lane on his Aurelia. And they're doing the same thing to Venom right here. And that's really going to hurt him, because he's not going to be level 6 before MBS will be. Not to mention the CS that he's missing out on, because, yeah, he got the assist bottom lane, but he's still trailing in CS currently.
Well, he is actually just going to head out from this one, not looking quite as scared as we may have expected him to hang back, but that can all change pretty quickly. You know, once that shield goes down and a couple of auto attacks from Twitch and the slow coming down, as we are going to see a knockup coming in on towards Cammy, but he flashes away from the shockwave just as Mazarine hits level 6. Great reactions from Cammy.
That's phenomenal reactions, and the thing is, now his flash will be down, but he does have his ultimate available. He is level 6. So he's going to be able to come around the map and help out, and he actually might need help in this bottom lane, because right now Venom has no way of resetting the lane. And with that, Gaming Gear can just keep the wave at their own turret this entire time, but luckily for him, their paiN Gaming top lane is actually doing quite well.
So Boots already picked up here for Surti, and that's going to mean that he's quicker in position to get anything going. And I totally agree with you. They probably need to force that bottom lane right up and actually reset it as well. Once again, Venom having to back away completely on towards the walls. Needs to keep that experience rolling, because if he stays in lane, he's not going to be gaining anything. We are going to see Destiny coming in here. NBS in a lot of trouble. Stun cards down. Cammy actually will pick up the kill there. Took a couple of hits from the turret, but they've got more than enough people up there to stop any pressure coming down. They may even be able to take a turret from this.
I love the communication off of that, because you saw Kami call when he was going to go in, and with that, we saw the grasping loots land right behind it. But right now, Alanir's going to get caught.
He is going to get caught. Is he going to go down from this one? Wildcard's coming in. Surti actually doing a great job to fear him away, but he slides away there with that combo. But that blue buff is now up. Mazarine used his shockwave earlier, and he's actually still on cooldown from this one. Alanir does have his smite available. He's going to be forced to smite that blue buff out there, which means, okay, they secured it, but it's not with the Orianna, who really needs that.
Yeah, not to mention, because that smite is down, there's pretty much no way for them to take away the blue buff from paiN, so Mazarine's going to be forced to play without it, which he's been doing all right so far. Not to mention, he has the Chalice, so an extra mana he's going to be missing out on to be helpful through that. And right now, Surti is going to hit that level 6 point very soon, which Alanir currently is. And when that happens, I want to know, is he going to sync his ganks with Kami, or is he just going to help out other lanes and pretty much constantly pressure top lane where if Nocturne's ult's not up, you have Kami's ultimate available. If Kami's ultimate's not up, you have Sir T's ultimate available, so they can keep ganking a lane over and over. But right now, they still need to do something about this bottom lane because Venom is level 5 to level 6 of NBS.
Well, he's going to hit level 6 here, and actually did just hit level 6 as we switched away from there. So he does have that unstoppable force available. Obviously, used his teleport earlier to get back in lane, but that has since come off cooldown. So they can follow the Shen around the map. And even with the Shen, they're still going to have an advantage there if Kami actually gets involved once that Destiny comes off cooldown. So they'll be able to spread that out nicely and should have then a man advantage to wherever they go.
Interesting play out of Sir T. He actually doesn't take the blue buff yet. He wants to hold this bottom lane since the turret's very low, but in response, Gaming Gear is like, all right, we're going to go for a Dragon here, which right now, there's no ward down for paiN Gaming. Gaming Gear has a pink ward down so they can have all the vision control, and honestly, this is a great response by Gaming Gear. Considering that NBS has been killed in that top lane, he's been shut down quite well, they're able to take an objective off this, and not to mention they're trying to contest.
There's the unstoppable force. They're going to go for Alani. He's going to slide away from that one, and well, the unstoppable force really not used to its full potential there on the Jarvan, who can always escape, who can put a Cataclysm down there and flash that out of that to keep you locked up. Either way, we are going to be seeing paiN here taking the first turret of the game. You see, with that Dragon from earlier, that's really now extended that gold lead.
Yeah, and paiN is playing very well now. They were able to get the blue buff over to Twisted Fate.
The first tower of the game, I meant, sorry, not the first Dragon, which obviously didn't happen.
I knew what you meant. But so, Kami's going to have that blue buff, going to be able to push very quickly, and if you don't have a teleport on the other side in that middle lane, the greatest way to counter Twisted Fate is crazy fast wave pushing, which right now Lazarine does have with an Orianna. Obviously doesn't have the blue buff to do it, but we'll be able to pressure him quite well. And the bottom lane, I don't know, I still want to keep talking about it, even though what's been happening, Bennett is still pretty much even in CS to his counterpart. I mean, yeah, he's level 6, so it's behind to level 7, but considering how the game was already, developing for him, he's been doing a great job of really getting back in this.
So right now, see Nocturne sniffing around middle, see if he can get anything on that one. Jarvan actually coming down towards this bottom lane as well, but chances of locking up an Ezreal with that Zyra as well to throw the grasping roots out, pretty slim. Obviously has those Strangle Thorns as well now as he's at level 7 if they need to really get out of any danger. The AD carries, if we look, it is BRTT that's leading in terms of CS at this point of the game, although it's not a massive amount. And leads to about just 200 gold between the two, as we are going to see a shockwave here on towards Kami, but he's not really scared of that one. Jarvan was completely out of range, and Kami didn't even have his flash available to use there, was able to just walk away.
I think they might have been able to kill him there if they just went for it, but but they were expecting Kami's flash to be available, so they were smart enough to just back away. And both teams, I mean, farming quite well. I'm actually amazed at how close this game is in terms of CS, but just what's been happening so far. Kami actually went for an early Sheen, so he might go for some really early pressure on some turrets here. But right now, Sir T is just waiting around this bottom lane. He's trying to soak up as much farm, as much experience as he can. And he's actually trying to hard reset the wave, because right now, if Venom just sat back, then it would have lost the entire wave again. Oh, they're going to go for a gank bottom.
Yeah, they are. I was just about to say that. You can see that Ezreal's headed down. Twisted Fate is going to get in position here as well. They are going to be going for this one. Jarvan is there, but can Jarvan stop this amount of pressure, this many champions coming in towards that bottom lane?
All 5? I don't think so. Maybe NBS, because he has the ability to obviously get down there.
Well, funny thing is, they're not going to go for it in the end. Didn't see Jarvan, I don't believe, coming in. They may have seen him passing that pink ward there in the jungle, but either way, Jarvan was there, and they decided not to go for that attack, which turns out to be, I don't know, maybe a decent move when you look at the grand scheme of things, because they might have lost a couple of men underneath the turret with that Cataclysm available to lock them down. So either way, paiN keep things as it is.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I'm thinking, would it have been worth it to go for the dive? And I think because they have a lead right now, there's no point in throwing that away since you already worked so hard for it. But we do have, Twisted Fate's ultimate up. We still have Nocturne's ultimate up, which hasn't been used just yet this game. And they kind of, I don't know, to me, they've taken their foot off the pedal in terms of their aggression, in terms of their pressure around the map.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, they look to be super aggressive in the things that they were doing, but that's not something they've really continued past maybe the 7-minute mark from this. We've been quiet now without any kills coming in. Both teams looking for as much farm as they can down in the bottom lane. BRTT and Deadly Brother just exchanged a little bit of damage there, but again, at this point, they're fairly at the start of their actual build. We've seen the Man Immune coming out for BRTT, along with that Doran's Blade. On the other side, the Cutlass coming in there for Deadly Brother, who's headed up towards that Blade of the Ring King. Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, pretty standard, definitely. I mean, these builds aren't going to get really different until we get about 30 minutes in, and Dragon should be up relatively soon, I would imagine. And I think that's going to be the next big point of contention, is a fight there. And right now we see Kami, he's trying to gank bottom right there, but because of the ward coverage that Gaming Gear has, he's unable to make that happen.
Yeah, and also the fact that Shen in this mid lane now, they realize that they have to keep a hold on towards this middle tower. Let's have a look at the health bar from that, as we are actually going to see them going in for the fight. They're going for Mazarine, but he turns around, Shockwave lands on towards Kami. There's the unstoppable force, flashed away by Mazarine, but he's going to take a lot of damage, and Shen not quite going to get in there. Actually, he's there at the back, and they turn it around to pick up the kill onto Jarvan. Kami got the stun card pulled. Going to throw out the wild cards, and they manage to get away, and that's a jungler for the mid laner. And Mazarine, they're probably happy because he's got that lead in CS, and then to get that kill coming down is definitely a win-win there, I guess, coming out for paiN.
Yeah, and I bet Venon's really happy on the side of that too, because he was able to pick up a kill, he was able to get a blue buff. That means he could be able to apply a lot more pressure on the map, but that was actually really well executed by paiN. They baited in the Orianna ultimate pretty much, and then you saw just Venon come in from the side. He wasn't even spotted by Surtees' ultimate, keeping him very well hidden. But right now, bottom lane, they're going in.
Wow, flash in there. Stranglethorn's going to go down, but BRTT's having a dance there at the back, and he comes in there, manages to pick up the kill, and he's going to head back off. There's Inspiro getting himself sunned up. There's a Grasping Roots as well, and a double kill coming down in the end. And BRTT, he was right at the back of the fight there for quite a while, and jumped straight in there to pick up the kills, and now they could have this turret away.
Yeah, and
they got
it's kind of
Dragon, though.
Amazed that they stuck around so long bottom, and I was just checking the replay real quick, and actually,
I lost track of BRTT in the fight completely, because he was at the back, actually pressed dance, and then jumped in.
Well, why not? But I mean, Kami, he actually go-carded a minion. I just wanted to pay attention to that because...
Well, he wasn't going to do any damage to him for a while.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to keep that in mind for later on about when the ganks become more and more important and the gold cards become more important. But still, gank worked out, picked up 2 kills, picked up the dragon off that, got a nice little bit of gold here, and you see the nice large rod coming in for Kami, so all this he's been able to pick up, all these ganks he's been able to pull off has given him a very strong lead, and right now, BRTT has 2,000 gold to spend when he goes back.
Should point out as well, if you're just joining us and you missed the last week of the European LCS, that we are on 3.10 now, which means the Twisted Fate has been changed. Obviously, no longer gives with his passive that global gold, but can get more for himself now. And actually, the odds of actually picking up more than that 2 gold that he would get before is actually pretty much in his favor as well. So see how that works out in the grand scheme of things. Kami is at 1-0-3 at this point. Got himself the Sheen, got a needlessly large rod in there as well. So well on his way to becoming incredibly dangerous. Mid laners haunting guys, and the starters of the Athene's Unholy Grail coming out for Mazarine. Not your standard Orianna build.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised with Athene's Unholy Grail, but it looks like they're looking to, I guess, siege away a little bit when they do get to these later team fights, because you're going to need that regen. More importantly, you're going to need that cooldown reduction to have that ball up as much as possible. I mean, the thing about Orianna is, you're not amazing early on. You do see Alanir go in here on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and they knew that Alanir was there. They actually threw the Q at him, but they're able to get the kill anyway. That was a very, very strange move. The Q comes in, and at that moment, Alanir's, well, I might as well go for it now. They've hit me with it, and still manages to knock up Espion. A little bit out of position, I think, there.
Yeah, really unfortunate, because they were really dominating that lane when they came down towards the bottom. And like I was saying about Orianna, I mean, she does all right early on, but as we saw in the Summer Promotion Tournament, and I hate to keep going back to it, but it's a perfect example. Look at Alternate as they qualified through that shockwave that came in out of Pharrell Lord. Like, that's how impactful an Orianna can be in the late game. And yeah, his items like aren't really there right now, but he's keeping up in farm. He's actually ahead in farm. Hasn't been really able to roam around and help pick up kills or help make something happen in other lanes like Kami has, but he's keeping up farming, which is like the key point. And if he gets a little bit of AP, I mean, he still can hurt as the game goes on.
Yeah, the good thing for Gaming Gear on this side, on that front, is that they're all ahead at this point in terms of the farm across everywhere except the support. Okay, I'll give paiN that one. Espeon has got a few more minions on that front. But, I mean, if you look overall, they are so far ahead there. And they're still a little bit behind on gold, but that can change very quickly here with just a single dragon to come into play. That could all be turned right on its head.
Yeah, and right now Kami is getting down towards his bottom lane. Looks like he wants to go for a gank here, and the thing is, he has pink wards. He knows he's not spotted necessarily coming down, but... And he decides to go back towards this middle lane here.
Yeah, not really gonna go for that 100%. And you've always got to be wary of the crescendo when that's up. I mean, you can come in there as Twisted Fate, get crescendoed out, the Sona flashes out of it, and it's not going to get you anything in the end. But I'll see how they continue that with that Rabadon's death cap in there now. Certainly, Cammy is going to be doing an absolute monstrous amount of damage. And once that Lich Bane comes in as well, that's when Twisted Fate becomes a real problem when it comes to split pushing into that side of his game, because he can shred towers so incredibly fast.
And we already know Kami can do it. I mean, he did it as EP Silent in the qualifiers to get here, and I mean, Twisted Fate is even easier to do it on because you have that Destiny.
If you can pull it off as AP Silent, then Twisted Fate should be right up his alley.
But right now, it looks like we're going to go for a gank on this top lane. Surti is there. He does have his ultimate available, and Venom, he's got to be careful here.
Yeah, we are going to see the knockup coming in. I was going to say that would be a very strange thing to do, as they are going to go down towards Orianna here. Mazarine going to have Stan United coming in. There's a shockwave. Lands on towards Cammy, who will flash away. Can he pull the right card? He's going to get taunted. MBS will pick up that kill, but there's a Cataclysm. Venom actually flashing away, but where's he headed? Down towards the bottom side. Alanir flashes in. Dragon strikes him to death. And that will be a good couple of kills picked up by Gaming Gear. And, well, that was all on Gaming Gear's side to start with, the pressure that they put onto Venom, but it was really paiN that initiated the actual fight, and they come off a lot worse from it.
Yeah, they really wanted to force something that might have not necessarily been there. Like, they saw Mazarine, who was separated from his team. They saw Kami coming in, we saw Surti ult right onto him to try to blow him up, but a great flash out of Mazarine was able to get the range that he needed. And then with the Shen ultimate and his ulti alone, he was able to pull Kami back into his own team, so MBS can get a nice flash taunt onto him, and they're able to turn that around very well. And I was just thinking, like, during this break that we've had in action, why paiN wasn't being more aggressive, why they weren't really pushing anything down just yet. And with the time that's been going on so far, it's elapsed so far, Gaming Gear's been able to kind of get their foot back in the door and take the gold lead for themselves.
Well, I mean, that Shen Jarvan alone is a scary thought when you start going up towards, when you start to come in there to make that fight happen with a Nocturne. You spot that the Orianna's there, but Mazarine having a flash available, you've always got command protect, you can speed yourself up, you've always got the shockwave to really control everyone down. We'll have to see. So, Mazarine back into lane, got that on Athene's now finished off, and also got a blasting wand added in. And as I was talking about Shen and Jarvan, they both have now an extra giant belt to add into the tanky items that they've already been picking up.
Yeah, it looks like that Lock of the Arnstar will be coming in for Surti relatively soon, and it's interesting because obviously the shield's gonna help out a lot when Mazarine gets an ulti onto the entire team if he can of paiN and really mitigate a lot of damage. And also gives him the ability to dive into the back of the team because he can pop that shield for a little bit of extra health right there and kind of survive a little bit longer while the rest of the team follows up throughout the fight. But we still haven't seen any major team fights break out just yet, and each team, they have strong compositions in their own right.
Yeah, that could change here though. Dragon is available. Shen doesn't quite have Stan United. Venom has his teleport, so they may be able to delay each other on this top side enough to come down. We are going to see Malphite TP'd in. Look at this, he's coming from the back. This could be dangerous. There is the Unstoppable Force. There is a true shot barrage, and Venom picks up the kill. That is the execution that paiN have been looking for to get things started. Now they get going on the Dragon. Can they finish off? NBS actually still headed down. He's still not got Stan United available, and they are able to pick up that Dragon as they come in here as well. NBS now going to be caught out, but he could shadow dash away. There is Destiny Pop. Where are they going? They're going to try and catch on to Twitch Sona. That won't quite work out as Deadly Brother actually stealths up at the perfect time.
Yeah, and that was a great initiate out of Venom to just teleport in from the backside, knock up Mazarine, and just shut him down. One thing I'm worried about, though, is if he doesn't start hitting multiple people, I mean, obviously right now it's okay, because you just wanted to kill one person to take Dragon, but he has to be very careful. He needs to hit these multiple targets as we get into these major engages, these major team fights, and right now, their poke is turned down very well. You even see Venom, he's just tanking it himself because he just doesn't care with that Sunfire Cave.
Yeah. Not enough to get underneath that turret right now, and I think with that last Dragon coming in the kill as well, we might see Cammy being able to get over on towards that Lich Bane in his next trip home. It's pretty close. I think not quite there just yet, but it'll be pretty close once that all happens. And that's where I'm really interested to see whether the Brazilians are going to try and go for that split push method.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that because right now you see NBS, he doesn't have a Spirit Visage, which we've seen a lot of Sheds picking up now. I mean, the magic resist you get off of it is huge, but the cooldown reduction is key. So that gives NBS the ability to split push with that Sunfire Cape and then get into fights a lot quicker with his ultimate, which he's going to need to be able to do to keep up with Venom, who's teleporting, and not to mention if Kami is the one that's split pushing, to be able to follow him around. And not to mention just survive against him.
Yeah, the survival always going to be a bonus as well. It's all well and good if you can match him with your Stand United in terms of mobility, but if he can actually kill you straight up, then probably not the best counter to that Twisted Fate split push. So, right now we see them all grouping up in middle. Dragon obviously was taken on its last spawn in here by paiN. Now they want to give this blue buff over to Mazarine. Obviously, the second one that spawned in there was not stolen away, but they put pressure on it. It was forced then the smite for Alonir, which kept it away from Mazarine overall. But Gaming Gear, you have to give them credit for this one. It looked like they were slowly but surely falling off the pace. Then they come in with that double kill up top. As we see your Destiny going to be popped. So they know that Gaming Gear are inside of their own jungle. They know that Deadly Brother has now stolen away that red buff. Sadly for them, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, I mean, Gaming Gear, they've been investing that red buff quite a bit. They've been trying to keep it away from paiN multiple times, and I think this is like the second or third time they've actually contested it, but the first time they've been able to take it.
So, guys, welcome if you're just joining us actually on the stream, watching the other game. Now, of course, in paiN Gaming versus Gaming Gear.eu right now. It's a pretty close game with paiN ahead, but pretty much barely ahead at this one. 1,800 gold, kills pretty even. Actually, Gaming Gear have the lead in the turrets as well. Last Dragon was pretty much the last big thing that we saw coming out of this one with paiN picking that up.
Yeah, and if you're curious what happened a little bit earlier to get us to where we are today, or right now, is that we actually saw quite a few ganks come down onto this top side where MBS was playing against the AD carry support of BRTT and Espeon. So one gank come out of Surti and one out of Kami. They're able to kill him one time, he was able to escape the other, and it gives them a little bit of a lead. But right now, they have 2 kills on a Venom, they have 2 kills on a BRT2, who's now 2-0 and 2. And he has the Iceborne Gauntlets on him, which is going to give him that great ability to kite. Not to mention poke down quite well with that Mirror Mana.
So Immunity did actually win that last game as well against Dark Passage, which just want to update the viewers that have been watching this stream straight through just to keep you updated with that one. So, right now we see both teams gathering themselves here towards the middle. MBS, who now got that Warden's Meal, so he's going straight up towards that Randuin's, which is certainly going to make him a very strong armor tank. There's no doubt about that one. I have plenty of health, which probably means that he can stay out of danger if he goes up against Cammy.
I think what he's hoping for is that he's going to go into the entire team of paiN, and then you're going to have Mazarine with a nice ultimate, pull them together, then he just slows them with Randuin, so they can't really escape somewhat.
Well, that's going to require Mazarine to hit a brilliant ultimate, which is something we always talk about with the Orianna. You know, it doesn't really matter how good you've been all game and how strong you are. If you miss a shockwave in a big team fight, and things can go very, very badly very, very quickly. So we'll have to really see, because we've not honestly had massive team fights up until this stage. We've had a couple of little skirmishes, I think we can say. The kind of jostling for position earlier for Dragon was only really 1 kill that came out because of Venom actually teleporting in towards the back of the team.
Yeah, and Kami, he doesn't have like a Zoner's Hourglass, so he has to be very careful when really going for that. You can't overextend with his ultimate too far, but luckily he does have a lot of backup with his team. He has that Malphite ultimate, he has that Nocturne ultimate to give him the vision advantage when coming in. They won't be able to see him coming in necessarily. And it's all about how paiN can really use that. But right now, it looks like they really want to take this middle turret.
No one's there either.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's there at all here for Gaming Gear, and that's going to be an easy pickup for paiN. Saw that everyone had backed off. They have the vision and switch down the bottom. We are going to see Destiny popped here for Twisted Fate, but he's literally going to go across the middle lane to nowhere. Why not?
Yeah, he'll go a couple inches over, but I actually was expecting him to use it to farm up top lane or bottom lane right now, and they do have an Oracle, a fairly early Oracle on.
It surprised me that he used them with 30 seconds to go until the Dragon spawn, actually. I mean, that would have probably given him more to look at when it comes to that next Dragon. coming up into the game. Oh, she'll have to see. Ven does have his teleport. Stan United is available for NBS as well. Those two are just butting heads in that top side of the map. So with 5 seconds to go until Dragon spawns, it's right now Gaming Gear that have the position on it, but paiN know that this one's coming up, and we are probably going to be seeing that Malphite getting himself down there with the teleport.
I was taking a look.
So needs.
Yeah, I was taking a look at his items. He actually went for distortion, so he wants the cooldown reduction on the teleport and the flash. I was maybe expecting home guards, because that's what we see out of Malphites that teleport in. They just catch you off guard. No one expects a rock to move that fast, but right now, Gaming Gear, they're trying to take this dragon, but paiN, with their poke they have with Ezreal, with Twist of Fate, they're able to stop him.
Oh, they're going in for this one, though. Jarvan's right in the middle. Actually going to be locked up for a while, but he's going to Cataclysm down there. And look at Alan, he's actually flashed away there. That's kept Twist of Fate completely out of the fight, but they're going over towards Deadly Brother here, who's still somehow managing to keep himself alive from them. There is BRTT, though, joining the fight. That's going to mean 2 kills. It's actually Nocturne that picks up one of them. Now they go towards Mazarine. Can't quite get the kill onto him, but that was a 2 for 0 again coming in from paiN.
And that was an engagement out of Gaming Gear. Like, they're the ones that forced that fight with that Jarvan, and you saw BRTT actually get stopped by Shen right there, as we do see the Twist Fate ultimate coming out.
Yeah, Destiny coming in, but they flashed to the other side from that one. Slow's going to come down. Mazarine taking a lot of damage. Ezreal cutting on as well. Are they going to be able to finish? Yes, they are. BRTT goes through. NBS actually finally coming down now. And, well, what is he going to be able to do apart from maybe have to back away? I can't really see him being able to hold on to this turret, as we are going to see multiple slows coming down. Can they get the finisher onto him? Venom going to go under the tower, and he will actually pick it up there in the end. And that will be
an ace.
An ace, a delayed ace, but an ace nonetheless for paiN.
Yeah, and that was a great job of paiN to turn that around. Like, they realized Aladir, he went straight into the back line onto BRTT, but BRTT was fine because Espen actually flashed back there to give him a little bit of assistance. And then Aladir actually had to flash out because he got so low, and they're able to just turn that aggression around. And we saw, you know, Gaming Gear do that just previously versus Dark Passage, where Dark Passage engaged upon them in their own fight, and Gaming Gear was able to turn one around. But right now, I mean, paiN, with their ability to kite, with their ability to CC you, with their ability to just dominate you and take away your vision in these fights, they're just snowballing this game.
It's the slows that are really becoming such a problem for them. I mean, you can't really escape it. Even you see there, Twisted Fate pulls out the red card, actually slowed both of them. Was probably better for that scenario in terms of looking up the ace than just the stun, because he slowed them both down. Then you've got Ezreal to just constantly annoy you with those Iceborne gauntlets. Right now, Gaming Gear are having to secure their jungle as quickly as they possibly can. They don't want that to be stolen away. If we look at turrets, inner turret on both top and middle lane are still there. And there's that Leandra's Torment picked up by Mazarine. That's what I said earlier when I saw the Haunted Guys coming out. It was pretty much the first thing.
I thought he was going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But he actually went for that switch. Okay, so it works decently well in Orianna. I mean, when you're against these high health targets like Venom and Surti, it's going to help poke them down a lot more. And if you pair that in with the slow off your distortion, you can actually, or off your W, you can actually do some pretty good damage with it. But you don't have that burst that really catches teams off guard, and that's what you really expect and you really need out of an Orianna most of the time.
Yeah, and while we're talking about the mid laners, we can look at Cammy again, who's starting to item up. Rabadon's from before, Lich Bane is now done, and his second needlessly large rod coming in, which is going to be so very hard to control now. See them going in towards his top lane. They're going to go towards Deadly Brother, he's dead, brother. And now the tower is going to be taken down so very easily. Surti is going to tank that one up, but he's not going to really have much of a problem with that. Venom actually coming in there as well. Unstoppable Force, obviously, not going to be needed. Oh, was used, so obviously it's not going to even be able to be needed, even if they had it there. And right now they go towards it. Sorry, there is the Shockwave. Actually pulls a couple in, Crescendo to the back as well. But honestly, that's not really that dangerous at this point. Stranglethorns go down. They turn it around. They kill off the Jarvan, who's locked them all up as well in the first place. And that's another kill coming out. And I don't really see paiN backing off too much. Good amount of damage, though, coming out from Orianna. You see that the Shockwave was on through, the Crescendo was good, but they can't actually do enough damage without that Twitch there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Aladir, he locked up paiN pretty well in that Cataclysm, trying to keep them stuck with him, but it kind of worked the other way around. They're like, well, we're not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with us because we're able to kill you. And he ends up overextending just a little bit, ends up dying. And right now, paiN doing a fantastic job. A 5-0-5 BRTT. We talked about him earlier as being a phenomenal player, you know, ex-Counter-Strike player, and he's really showing up to what paiN kind of needs right now. And usually Kami's the one to carry the team, which, you know, you can argue that he actually is doing very well in, but they have two very strong laners right now that are really keeping up, really giving paiN that advantage. And not to mention paiN, who got shut down really early on, we have to say. He got zoned away from the minions. He's 3-1-5. He's done a fantastic job of really getting back in this game.
Yeah, and we've seen his decision-making in terms of teleports as well has been really, really good. That one at Dragon, which for me started off, if you look at the score, 13-4, it was actually a lot closer than this for a long time. And that was the thing then with that Dragon afterwards for paiN that I think may have tipped the scale somewhat for him getting in there and able to lock that up for them, not just the kills, but also the objective straight away after that. They're now 5-2 up in turrets. We're approaching a 10,000 gold lead. And for paiN, it's now all going to be about moving around, making sure that they can finish off these turrets. And once that middle inner turret's actually down, there's only the base then left for Gaming Gear, and that's when it becomes so much harder to really defend, because you can move around, you can't get vision out there, you can't really leave your base without the threat of walking into a trap.
Especially with a Nocturne, that trap is always imminent. And right now, I mean, Gaming Gear, they don't have fantastic wave clear. They have an Orianna, so it helps out quite a bit. But you see right there, it takes a couple of command attacks to actually take the wave down. Where on paiN's side, they have a Twisted Fate who is really strong. They have an Ezreal, they have a Nocturne with his Q. Like, they can clear waves extremely quickly, and that makes it hard for Gaming Gear to really kind of hold onto their own turret. However, Gaming Gear has a good team to engage with, so if BRTT gets too close to the turret and starts hitting it, then he could be caught, he could be killed, and then there goes a significant amount of damage that paiN will lose out on.
So I thought the need to see large rod from Kami might be spent defensively, you know, head up towards Zhonya's, just to make sure you're safe, teleport in the back, and you know, Zhonya's up, but no. DFG being picked up there by Kami, so he's full out aggression right now, and has no problems with singling anyone out, as we are going to see here. Espeon, well, that wasn't really much of anything, to be honest. He's just walking away. Not quite the juicy targets, those supports with oracles like they used to be, since now that they persist through death.
Yeah, very true, and he actually put that very well. It was very passive. He wasn't exactly sure where Gaming Gear was, so he just backed away in and out. He was able to kind of get the word down, but here comes that split push that we've been waiting for all game. Kami's down in that bottom lane while the rest of his team is over here at middle, and
well, they can do it on two fronts right now with Venom in there. We are actually see them going in on towards Espeon. He's a dead man. Does get the Stranglethorns down, and they're actually going to go in right to the back here on towards Deadly Brother. I think Surtees gone too far with this one. Tries to get away. Deadly Brother gets that kill. There's Venom onto the back into Deadly Brother. BRTT is still alive, but he will get shut down by Shen. And now Venom going to be chased down, and this is a disastrous fight coming out for paiN. The taunt comes in. Venom's still alive because of the tankiness, but just a matter of time, and that's a 4-0. Yes, Kami is going to be able to take this inhibitor. He's probably going to be able to have a good go at these Nexus turrets while he goes in there as well, but in terms of the fight itself, it didn't really work out. Where are they going? They're going to Baron, but Kami's got a wave of minions coming in here. They're going to get Baron. Shen has finally come back from that one.
Though.
I don't think so either. With these minions coming in, what's he going to do against him? And we see that Kami just going straight in there, has popped his destiny now, so he's going to be able to probably go back down to the bottom side. No, he actually goes up towards Baron, which is only at just less than half HP. Orianna has come away. Kami's going to flash in there. DFG goes down, and Mazarine, he's going to be a dead man. Kami's still alive, causing problems for them. There is Deadly Brother coming in. Finally, we'll get the shutdown, but they've lost the Nexus turret. They picked up the Baron, though, in reply to that.
Executed.
Oh, we actually did see Execution come out. But sorry, I was actually thinking, like, paiN. So we talked about split pushing, and then you're like, yeah, they could do it on two fronts. And I was thinking to myself, like, there is a huge downside if paiN doesn't react quick enough. If a team fight starts out of Gaming Gear, then they're going to lose out on many people. They end up losing forward there, but luckily for them, Kami's so far ahead in terms of his items that he can split push that quickly, take an inhibitor turret, an inhibitor, and one Nexus turret, and almost getting the second one down to half health. I think paiN's very lucky that Kami just kind of continued and is this fed so far.
Well, they'd probably say, if you ask them, they totally played it that way. That was the point that we were trying to make in there. We can see now that they're able to take away Blue Wolf's got complete vision control of the jungle thanks to Espeon's Oracle.
More like Flareon right now because he's on fire.
I see what you're
I've been holding that one on for a whole game.
Trying to get that one in, you're getting it out now just in case there's no other opportunity later on in the game. But yeah, I mean, paiN, showing there that they can still lose team fights. Well, honestly, that was a 3 versus 5 pretty much when it started off. So we'll have to see when they actually head up 5v5. I mean, this is a Baroned up Gaming Gear now, which paiN would be silly, actually, if they actually underestimated.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, I wonder if paiN can sit as 4, since BRTT's farmed enough that he can clear waves really quickly, that he can just split push bottom or split push top. Because with that one Nexus turret already low on life, still regenerating up right now, and with one being down, like with a Lich Bane, he can take that turret down very quickly. And right now, Gaming Gear doesn't have anyone that can really defend a split push if paiN decided to.
Yeah, and someone's got to be ready to recall straight away there. If Kami pops Destiny, they should all just back straight off, because he will take down that other Nexus turret. And then it leaves your base completely open. And look at this right now, Kami going up towards this top side of the map. That's going to force an instant reaction there. You see quite a few of them starting to back away. Obviously, this inner turret in the mid lane is still there. Orianna not with the team completely, so that means that, I mean, Orianna's not the person you send there, number one. They need to send MBS there.
Yeah, and right now, because there's no ward coverage out of Gaming Gear past their own base, except that one at Wraith Camp, they can't actually see where Kami's going to go unless he shows himself. And that's kind of what you need to do against Twisted Fate, to kind of get there before he's able to push the turret down. And right now, paiN gonna get that middle one. And Gaming Gear, they're just not even able to push out past their base to stop this.
Well, finally they sent the Shen up there, and everyone who was there actually came back, and we are going to see Jarvan going into this one. Venom is going to drop the unstoppable force. Where is Kami? He's actually just walking around to this fight from here, and he has got that stun card pulled. Jarvan going to turn on him. There's a shockwave onto Kami, but he is going to stop Alania. Is he going to go down? Yes, he is. MBS is going to get that kill. There's a crescendo coming through as Venom goes down as well. In the rear end.
And just like you said, you can't underestimate Gaming Gear when they have that Baron, because they'll just pull something like that on you. And that was the second time in a row that they just went for a hard engage onto paiN, and Kami getting caught off on the side by himself. BRTT, oh, he's not going to live.
No, well, he might do, saying that. Slow is actually going to come down. BRT trying to get away from this one, but he is going very, very low. Poison ticking away.
Golem's killed him.
Yeah, Golem's coming around for an assist there. Should make him worth more at this point. So 14 to 12 in kills, and again, more picked up by paiN overall, and sorry, by Gaming Gear, and that just shows that this split push is actually not really working out for them at this point. They're losing men doing it. Yes, okay, they took a Nexus turret, which is a massive thing in the overall course of the game, but now they're going to be very, very wary of what Gaming Gear can do.
And the thing is, Gaming Gear has a Jarvan. Like, they have a really hard initiate onto your team. Follow that up with the Orianna Ball. It's going to be really kind of hard to escape. We saw BRTT, though, in that last fight. The Arcane shoots it out right away, so he was able to escape. But the thing is, like, the rest of his team couldn't survive the damage that was being put out. Espeon kind of got caught off, right, or got off guard right there. Wasn't expecting such a hard engage. Then Kami, like you said, he walked into that fight instead of like ulting to get there a little bit quicker. And I think if he ulted back towards his team instead of coming in from the side, he would have lived. He wouldn't have been killed like that by just
They might have just backed away once Destiny was popped.
Yeah.
Like, but if they knew that Twisted Fate was coming right, then that's what they might have gone for. Another needlessly large rod picked up by Twisted Fate. I'm definitely going to say this one's a Zhonya's.
Watch him pull out another death cap on you. Oh, man. But yeah, it's just, I don't know if paiN's going to continue to go for that split push anymore. Maybe bottom lane when this Baron does fade away, because obviously Kami will be able to take that down very quickly, but he doesn't have any wards on him or any wards down there at all to really do that. And paiN, I mean, if they keep at this, if they keep losing these fights, Gaming Gear is going to get a nice, strong lead for themselves. They're actually going to get the gold lead for one of the first times in the game, and they'll be able to turn it around, because look at Deadly Brother. Infinity Edge, Blade of the Rune King, Banshee's Veil, Last Whisper. He hurts a lot more than BRTT does.
That is another dragon, which I always say at 40 minutes into the game, it's obviously going to be a bonus. Always a bonus to have in there, but not a massive, massive pickup. So what is the next decision here for paiN? They've got that lead going on. Kami's actually going to be going home at this stage. He's got 1,600 gold to be spending. Death cap, death cap, death cap. Picks up a Zhonya's, just like we thought he might have gone for earlier when he actually pulled out the DFG. So now has got that Zhonya's, and that's certainly going to help him out when it comes to these team fights. Now, I don't imagine he'll walk back into the next one if he decides to go in there. I think Destiny will be used right to the back of the team, pop the Zhonya's, and then go for a fight.
Yeah, I mean, during that last one, we saw Venom actually very smart. We saw Mazarine and Deadly Brother coming into the fight, but he ulted them to keep them away. He didn't want them really fighting and really bursting down anyone on paiN, but obviously in the end it didn't matter too much. And Mazarine will be able to get his blue there, which is a huge win for them, because we've seen how this entire game he has been able to pick it up. He's 1-4-10, so he's kind of playing like a support Orianna, and they're going to need that wave clear. They're going to need that ultimate off cooldown as much as possible if they want to be able to beat paiN in a head-on-head fight.
Oh, they're going into this one. They've managed to catch 3. There's a crescendo coming down. Stranglethorn's going to knock him up. There's 2 men in. The Shockwave is unstoppable. Force goes to the back. There's T diving in as well as 2 men go down. But they're starting to pull things back. But for how long here? NBS going to get locked up there inside of the brush. And this is going to be a very, very quick 4-man. There's no ace. Just about Mazarine got away. But they're going to take the inhibitor on this bottom side. They're all pretty, well, I say all pretty low. It's Espeon that's pretty low. Kami's flashing red as well, but Venom, even though he's flashing red, he's still got over 1,000 health in there as well. And this could well be the end here for paiN.
And in that fight, you actually saw Gaming Gear, they pull off a great combo, but not onto the right targets. All they did was lock down Surti and Venom. They got them low, but you had BRTT ranging all of it, just attacking away, and because of that, they weren't able to win the fight in the end. And right now, we're going to see Venom actually teleport back in because they're going to go with a victory. They still have a lot of time left on these death timers.
Wise decision there from Venom. Goes home, gonna teleport straight back into this one. They've got pretty much 10 seconds, although Sonar on the respawn's probably not going to be able to offer up enough defense for this turret to be taken down as a Shockwave comes in. Mazarine gonna take down Espeon, actually gets himself a double kill there. And now they do finally get some focus onto the turret, but in the end, they have to actually back away from it. Venom is going to take up the tank up the turret there as well, and that Nexus turret saved in the end by Gaming Gear.
With that inhibitor being down, though, paiN can actually go for, well, no, with the Kami being down, they can't really rush that Baron, but they can at least hold on to it for quite a while with Mazarine not having hit available. But I was surprised. I thought they were going to finish the game right there. I mean, they could have just tanked the turret themselves and just finished it off, and instead they didn't. And Gaming Gear, they're going to be so happy about that. That might have been something that actually gets them back in the game. It might be something that kind of gives them a win.
Well, credit to Mazarine. I mean, he was alone there at the back, throws his Shockwave down, able to pick 1, then takes out Kami as well, who was probably the biggest threat along with BRTT there to that Nexus turret. Gaming Gear started off Baron, but I think realizing that without really much vision in there, they can't do anything about taking that one. And as paiN come in, that Baron will be a very real target for them.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, that inhibitor being down bottom is so crucial because someone has to defend against that, and it's the furthest you could be from Baron at that point. And with paiN's team, they have a very quick team in taking down that Baron. Gaming Gear, they've been having troubles with vision throughout this entire game, and right now they have Baron warded up, so they have that ability to see when it's going to be taken, but do they have the ability to contest it? And I'm not really sure at this point.
Well, we are going to see them backing away here, Gaming Gear, after pushing out as far as they can. A couple of men going up towards that Baron area. Well, at the same time, Espeon with his Oracle on is going to be clearing out pretty much all the vision that they laid as they did that attempt earlier on. Venom himself actually running an Oracle here, so they're able to clear out twice as many wards as they go through. That was a pull from Mazarine just to pretty much stop the chase coming down there. And Venom not able to get through there whatsoever. So they're going to ward up that blue side of things. But look at this. This is the important thing. Kami down on this bottom side. Problem that he has, if it all goes down at Baron right now, Kami can't actually get right directly into the fight, whereas MBS can.
Yeah, and if anything, he could stun him up at least and then get close with that ultimate, but you're definitely right. If MBS gets there, they can just taunt up paiN and pretty much lock them down. But right now, Baron is being started. We do have Kami still in that bottom lane, trying to keep someone there. Still trying to push up right now, but the rest of Gaming Gear, they're going to try to stop this.
Yeah, they do start to come around, and instantly we see paiN let off of Baron. Are we going to see them starting the fight off? No, we still have Kami down in the base, still putting pressure on towards NBS, and actually probably doing damage onto the Nexus turrets by this time. The rest of Gaming Gear are actually held up at this point. As we are going to see Jarvan go down, goes onto BRTT, but surely he'll be able to just Arcane Shift away, which he does. They go down to the backside, switch the focus. He's going to get Stan United as a crescendo comes across. 3-man Shockwave as well. And Gaming Gear are living in this one, at least for now. We see Surti getting the fear onto MBS. He dives. Inspero's an easy kill as well. And that will be a 3-for-1. And this is another chance here for paiN to win the game.
Looks like they should be able to do it this time. Looks like they're going to go for another turret when they don't necessarily need to, but they can finish the game how they want to, honestly.
Well, they can, and they're going to. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. They want this Middle inhibited turret as we see Mazarin again get another kill in these last-ditch efforts, and he will walk away with his life as well. That turret only needs a couple more hits. There is BRTT to finish off. Inhibitor probably won't be able to do much to defend that one, so they're going to lose that, as well as the top and the bottom ones in the end. So no inhibitors left. Everything open up now for paiN.
I'm so confused right now, Joe. baiN had his teleport. He could have went back, healed up, teleported back into this also. I mean, with that bottom inhibitor being down, they could have just rushed the Nexus turret, but they, I guess, didn't feel confident enough. They wanted to make sure to get their first win in their first game of the day, and I just have to respect that in the end.
Well, we'll see if they try something funky, although, as you said, they don't seem right now like the team that would really destiny right into the backside and try and finish it off with a teleport as well coming out, although it'd be quite ironic if they did, after deciding not to push these opportunities where, by all rights, they probably could have won this game already. And Gaming Gear, on the other hand, they're still holding on, although I don't think it's 100% their choice to be holding on to this game right now. I think it's paiN that have backed off a couple of times from scenarios where they could have finished out. Baron, though, is still available, and we may see paiN making a play on that one just to be absolutely sure that they're ready for a win.
Yeah, because right now, no one on Gaming Gear except Deadly Brother and Mazarin can really stop these super grenades pushing in. And then you have one lane open that MBS is going to be taking care of, which you can't really wave clear too quickly. But here we go. Baron's going to be started up. And after this is taken, which paiN should be able to get for free, we should see the end of the game coming in.
Well, that Baron looking like it won't be contested whatsoever. Right now, Gaming Gear are just trying their best to force those waves back out. If you look at the ward coverage, they've actually done a good job in these moments where they've had the chance to actually force things back. So they're going to have vision of the immediate area surrounding that base. But with the Baron now in here for paiN, with over a 10,000 gold lead, this is their game to win.
And they're going to be barreling down this middle lane. The bottom inhibitor did respawn, but hopefully they're not going to take that before they finish this game, because honestly, I don't think they really need to. But they still, I mean, Gaming Gear, they still have the opportunity to win this game. They can hold on as long as possible. They can force another major team fight, and we've seen already just how honestly great their team fight is. Like, they survived against paiN, even though Alnir dove so far in the back, they're able to even pick up a couple of kills.
The problem that I've seen, though, they've had great shockwave, great crescendo, great cataclysm.
They've nothing to back it up.
Once all that's gone, it's like there's not really enough to actually win out the fight at the end. Albeit there's been good focus onto Deadly Brother's Twitch to get him out of the fight as fast as they possibly can. Right now we see there Kami taking a lot of damage, and he's just going to go down out of nowhere. The rest of the team actually pushing on here towards that bottom inhibitor, but they might find themselves caught from it as well. They're a little bit out of position as well as the rest of the team finally come around. Stranglethorn's going to be used here by Espeon. Are they going to keep chasing? It looks like it. There's a slide in from Java, going to knock one up. They turn around, go towards Deadly Brother, but Venom down to less than half HP. There is the crescendo and the shockwave both coming in at the same time. Stan United finally going to be used there, and they're all over the place here. Sir T does finish off that inhibitor, and actually the Nexus turrets go down in the end. They've managed to hold out long enough for the minions to push through, and paiN pull it off. A little bit of a crazy finish, a long drawn out game there, but it doesn't matter for them. They picked up the win, and that's what counts.
The thing was, that was such a great fight for Gaming Gear at the end of it, where Deadly Brother actually flashed away from Nocturne, but he also incidentally flashed away out of a Malphite ultimate, and they were still able to pick up kills left and right. But with those three waves of super, or those three lanes of super pushing in, they just could not deal with that, and Minions ended up winning the game for him.
And it was funny because it's